Hey everybody. So in this video, what we're going to do is just review what transpired in the market today. We're going to talk about what high beta is and what low beta is so that people actually understand this a little bit better instead of me just throwing out terms. And I'm going to review about 30 ideas that are actionable, either as absolute just outright shorts or stocks that you might want to look at buying. So the very first thing we're going to do, the very first thing I want to do is get right into the indexes. And then everything else will be in alphabetical order. So this is all from the newsletter, and I'm just going to shrink this down, and we're going to put this here. It was just me saying that, on Tuesday I thought we were going lower, and I was pretty vocal about it in the newsletter. Newsletter's free, and there's a link in the bio. Let me just throw this over here because we're not going to get into that. And I just really want to point out this one little pattern. I just think it's very important because no one's really talking about it, and I'm not really sure why, but it's really important that people understand this. These are the Qs. This is the Nasdaq. And it's just a lot easier for me to use the Qs than to use, anything else like in regards to the, the futures. I mean, not everyone has access to the futures, but this is really important. And I just really want to get this out there because I feel like people are not talking enough about this. And I've mentioned it a couple times, but we're going to get into it so that you can understand exactly what's transpired and why the change from I'm bullish to, I'm a little concerned here and the trend is down. So you can see right across this what I'm drawing. And as always, for those that are new to this video, we go over things so that people can educate themselves and do this on their own, more than just me regurgitate ideas that you should buy or sell. We go over key levels and then you implement your own process into it. The goal here is to educate as well as to give ideas that you can make money off of. So let's just get into this and where I'm going with this because we have a lot to cover and I have a lot of conference calls I want to listen to tonight, particularly ROKU and PENN, which, Peloton, which I will cover in this video. So see this gap here? And then you see this gap. Let me move the line I just put in, right? So you see this gap here. Okay. This gap and this gap, this makes an island. Okay. When that island forms and then you have this gap down, okay, this is called an island reversal. It is a very simple chart pattern. And I mentioned this today on Twitter. Learn your chart patterns. It's most important. Learn price action, learn your chart patterns, learn your volume. Okay, they're your three biggest. Everything else, the MACD, the super special clouds you need for moving averages, all that stuff, it's all noise until you learn how to do price action, volume, and chart patterns. Those three things, and then you add the bells and whistles. Okay, that's how people that are successful trade. They focus on the things that they can control. So this gap here and this gap here, this is a reversal. Now, this is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. That's why I said on Tuesday in the newsletter, you have a clear direction now. That direction is down. Now, do I feel warm and fuzzy because we bounced here and didn't break the 50? No, not at all. I think that we were oversold and we were going to bounce up. I do like the price rejection. I hope we don't break the 50. I'd like this to settle down, but to think that we're going to go right back up, it is not going to happen. So you need to be prepared for that. You need to figure out what you're going to do about it to make money. So let me just move this back to here so you can see that level. Okay, because that's the new resistance level right now, 335.53. This up 338.40 we were trying to hold. Obviously that broke. Coming down here and moving like this, it's not the best, but I just want to point out this pattern. This is on a daily chart, and that's what you're breaking right now. And you broke below the low of the other peak. It's not where you want to be at all. And so that's why I've been kind of hammering home like, hey, we have an issue here. And it's one that needs to be addressed. Now, that said, you do have a trend right here, and you do have a trend line right here that people are looking at, and they're right to be looking at it. And it's just really important that we go over this first before we drill into this, because it's going to lead into what's really going on out there. So you can see that trend line, right? If you break this trend line, you're going to exacerbate to the downside. It will accelerate to the downside. You'll go through the 50. if this breaks. So really what you want to look for in the Qs, just mark down so that you have a level. You know, the 326.45 level, you get below 326, I think you're going through the 50, and I think this is going to roll. Anyone that studies pattern recognition is paying attention to these levels. They're key levels. And I just want to show this. You know, this is the monthly. Okay, so this is the monthly and what's transpired. So, you know, you can see how these months here are turning red. Then we had one green month. Now we're red again. See, I mean, you could see what's going on here, that you're getting overextended and you're setting up to come in. I do think that you're higher by the end of the year, but I do think that you're going to go through some pain here, and just be aware of that. So, and, you know, in regards to the SPY, let's just touch base with it. I mean, we're 1% off. It's low beta. This is where the action is. This is where you need to be on the long side, the buy side of the market right now. Okay. This is where you need to be. This is why I'm coming out with the recommendations of FDX, Lowe's, Home Depot, John Deere, Caterpillar. I've constantly been talking about this for the past, you know, month and a half. The financials are breaking out of a 12-year high, right? And this is, you know, let's just go through this. I mean, that's Goldman Sachs, right? Here's JP Morgan. I mean, you can see what's going on, right? You can see that. So the SPY is the place to be. Low beta is the place to be, where they can park capital. The institutions can park capital and go from there. There's a trade going on right now that most people aren't really aware of, where it's really a deleveraging trade. And that became abundantly clear on Tuesday. And I think that's why we saw the sell off. I mean, this is the monthly on the IWM, and you're getting tighter and tighter and forming a flag. Maybe it breaks out here. You know, whatever way this goes on the monthly is how this index is going to go. So just keep that in mind. You see how it's getting tighter and tighter here? So when that breaks, whichever way it breaks is how we're going to go. I mean, it's really that simple. So, you know, you really want to see the monthly close on the IWM. But so what's really transpiring here, and I'll get into it a little bit as we're reviewing the stocks that are out there. And the very first one we're going to look at is Alcoa. And I know people are going to be like, boy, this is going to be boring because we're going to go over low beta stocks. Yeah, we're going to go over low beta stocks. And you can make a lot of money with low beta stocks right now. These are going to get extremely crowded trades. I'm going to tell you to stay away from the commodities. We're going to look at gold, but these can be extremely crowded trades, and they're just getting started. So, you know, and by just getting started, look, Alcoa is just getting above the 200-day for the first time since 2018. We're finally getting above that on the monthly. Okay. That's today, right? That this is happening. Now let's go to the daily on Alcoa. Okay. You can see this move higher, but it's not a huge move, right? It's not a huge move yet, but we're just going higher. We're just grinding higher. Now, if you go here and you just look at what's going on here, okay, you can see your trend line. Everybody knows that has been watching me for some time is fully aware that when you flip these lines, it's significant to me. Why is it significant? Because you have a channel, and the demand was so great, it popped out of the channel for the first time, right? That's all it is. Just remember it like that. Wow, demand is so great, it popped back out of the channel. I'm not crazy about this reversal bar. And every time we do this, it does come back in. So just be aware of that. I would like to see this come in a little bit, and then you could take a look at it. But getting above the 200 month is so substantial. This is so substantial. People remember this move from FCX when we bought it at 31. And then we traded it out and we did okay with it, but we didn't do great. When you start seeing these on the monthlies, moves like that, you need to put them on your list. So, and a bunch of these are going to be different names that you're not familiar with. So this ABBV, and let me just show you why this is on there. So let me put the symbol up here. Okay. So what you're seeing, let me just open this up, drag this down. Okay. See how you broke the 113 and you never looked back? See how you opened here, retested, and couldn't. Let me zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, because this is important stuff. See how you opened here, came down, couldn't even take out the lower low from yesterday on the gap down, then shot back over the open and closed at an all-time year high, right? So, and it might even be an all-time high on this stock. Let's take a look at that. So it's not an all-time high. Your all-time high is 125. So you're going at least to 125 from here. You're at least going back to that level. I see no reason why this can't go a lot higher, frankly. So the one issue that you do have is this. You have this upstairs, you know, that you have to watch. And you have another little trend right here. Okay. So as always, you know, if you can't draw these right away or you don't see them right away, don't worry about it. I've been doing this for over 20 years. So after a while, it becomes like second nature. So I think you're okay here. I mean, what my concern would be is if I was long this, if I break 113.40, I'd be out. Other than that, I think this is actionable. You might want to wait at this point to see if it flips this level at 119. So ALGN, let me get rid of this. This was something we were looking at earlier. You know, you got up to here, right? We talked about this level and we rejected. There's nothing to do with this. Avoid. I mean, it's very clear. Broke the 21 day. When the stock breaks the 21 days, everybody knows. Use that as your barometer. Very simple barometer, very simple reading on a 21 day. Who's in charge of the stock? If I'm above the 21 day, the bulls are in charge. If I'm below the 21 day, the bears are in charge. No interest in buying this. The only cool thing that happened with this today, and I do love seeing these because they are interesting, and they do mean reversals, and you are on the 50 day. So there is some good stuff here. So you have this bar over encompassing this bar. Remember from that candlestick video series we did, Trading Like the Pro? I'll actually link that to this. But you see where I'm going with this, right? We have a bullish engulfing on a 50 day. And you kind of have a little trend right here, right? Yeah, a little one. Not something you should get like really excited about. But you kind of have a trend there. So, you know, could it hold here? Sure. My thing would be get me above the 21 day and then you could re-engage. Frankly, you probably do not want to re-engage this until you get above this level. Okay. And I'm going to just give you an idea here. And this is like an old Can Slim trick, right? It's like an old Bill O'Neill trick. So see how you're here? You just want, you know, some people tell me they take notes when we go through these. That's entirely up to you, but let's just get into this. See how this was the high? See how it failed here? The second time that this goes through, whatever your position was here, increase the size of the position because the probability of this breaking through when it gets up here the second time is substantially greater than this time, right? Just keep that in mind. So usually you can increase your position size on the second go around. ALTO. Look, I threw this in there for a very quick reason, and we're just going to run through this for the gentleman that owns it. See how you jump to this line right here? And see how you can't break that 200 day? See how the 200 day has crossed by the 50 day? It's called a death cross, and it's called that for a reason because it's pretty much the end of the stock. So you really don't want to own this. Yeah, you want to move on. I would not be waiting here. I'm on top of that. I also have this cross coming down. This is nasty stuff. You do not want to be playing with this. So I was pretty clear about this a couple days ago that this is broken. You know, I try not to put too many shorts in the newsletter because I can't be on top of it that fast. But, you know, when this broke this level, I was pretty clear. You know, it looks like that was 113, 114 level here that you should be shorting this. And, you know, today we got to 105. We bounced to 108. Look, you are below the 200-day moving average on this. You have broken a triple bottom. This does not magically fix itself in a day. And that's what you have to understand here. These moves are inversions of what you saw on the way up. This is the way down. This is not going to change its stripes all of a sudden and just magically go back and start taking out highs. No, this is going to wind up coming back to this 200-day. People are going to short it. It's going to roll again and come back down and retest this level. That's what's going to happen. You have a trend line now, and everyone remembers these upper trend lines, right? They become resistance when they're broken. This is broken. The only way that this could truly heal itself is within 3 days to get back above that, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So my first target on this as a short is $91, and that's based upon the size of the base and the length of the base. And I'd like to see what happens here, but I would not go near this. Only to short, only into rallies around 113, 114. And you can short the names that are out there too. You can short Planter. You can short TDOC. Yeah, they're not anywhere near done. going down, in my opinion. So ASO I was asked about. This was from that short squeeze video we did on Sunday. Every Sunday we do a list of stocks that get squeezed. And there's short-term moves, and that's exactly what this was, a short-term move. So, I pretty much drew where we thought we were going to go to and then where it was going to stop. For people always want to know my positions. I try not to do that because you should be doing your own stuff, but I'm 100% out of this. I was pretty clear on the levels today and what I would look for to get out, and I'm out. So I tried to get to this level. I rallied. The rally failed. And this kind of tape, I'm not playing around with it. We did quite well from $32. We got up here to 36. By the time I was out, my average cost was probably close to 35 3/4. What do you do now with it? Well, I tried to break out. I rejected. I came back down. If you're not out of this and you want to stay in it to see if it does perform, you just have to use 32.49 as your stop. But at this point, I'm not going to get back involved in this from 34 to 36. It's not worth it. But if you are in this still, you need to use 32.49 as your stop. That was a decent move out of that short squeeze. ATKR we've been looking at for a little bit, and we broke out here really nicely at the 76 level. Apparently we were looking at this one before. Nothing's changed. This is still actionable, and there's still money to be made here, right? This can go to 100. There's 14 points here. You have a very long base here. This base has been here since, oh my gosh, almost the beginning of the year. So you have a 5-month base here, and you're just starting to move. So I guarantee you, if you look at this on the weekly, there's your base, right? There's your weekly base, and you just broke out of it the other day on a doji. Now you're a higher high. And look at this bar, open and close at the high. So this is just getting started. You might want to wait for it to come in a little bit before you test it. I'm saying that because, you're in a rough tape. So you really want to be buying dips, and you want to be trading. You really want to be trading these like higher beta names. You do not want to be in them. The deleveraging that's going to happen across the board in hedge funds and prime brokerages is probably going to be pretty substantial. I don't think we've even seen the beginning of it yet. Now I'm going to give you a statistic why I'm looking at this. Just remember this statistic because it's true. During corrections or when high beta names come in, 50% of that drop, 50% drop in the high beta names. A high beta name is a stock that moves greater than the Nasdaq moves. So if it moves in tandem with the Nasdaq, if the Nasdaq goes down 1% and your stock goes down 1%, that's a beta of 1. If you're in a stock and the stock goes down 5% and the index is 1%, it's a beta of 5. You average that over time. The stocks that have the highest growth have the highest beta, i.e. the market goes up 10%, your stock goes up 30%. It's got a beta of 3, right? Just simple math. The reason I'm bringing that up is as high beta is usually leveraged, and if they're leveraging that and they have to deleverage it, right, which they do have to deleverage. There's rumors going around now that that's what they're going to have to do with these prime brokerage houses. So that's an issue. But so that's what I'm saying. You might want to just take the opportunity to trade these names when you start seeing stuff like this. But so I gave this yesterday and said, look, if this thing's a monster, and if you get through this 26.38 level, you're going to run. And that's exactly what it did. It came up, it ran. I posted this on Twitter. We did the trade and then blew it out. I'm out of 75% of this trade. The rest is at a break even, I believe. So, can this keep going? Absolutely. This volume's insane. And these are the kinds of names that are moving. Big Five sporting goods, just like ASO, same space, roughly same space. So, what do you do with that? Low of the day, stop. That's pretty much it. So this was in the newsletter. We got $1.50 out of it. I hope everybody understands now the method behind that process and why it's so important to set stops. We came here. We couldn't break through 25. We tried twice and failed. That's enough. We tried, it didn't work. We could always get back in. And then as soon as it broke this little level here, right here, we got out. We rallied, tried to rally, didn't work. So people are asking me where this is going. Look, they have their work cut out for them, this company. And this company's not even trading at its NAV yet, right? We're not even trading at our NAV. So what does that mean? That means that we have to get back to 15 to even see if it can hold that. So I don't see this as something that you need to be running into right now. I would avoid this. I would really avoid this. I would wait till you see the $15. It's very clearly that it's going back to $15. I mean, you can see that by the chart. I mean, you're just breaking resistance after resistance. There was some interest in this interview the CEO did, but there were more questions than answers. I mean, he was honest, but there were just more questions than answers. So CLF, it's been a slow mover for us. We've been looking at this one for a while. You can see all the lines. Let's see what happens with it. I mean, really, you need to break $21. You have a bull flag that's here. We really don't even need this one anymore. So let's get rid of that. And let's go back to this. Okay. CPE. Well, look, I mean, this is definitely one where, it can break out, and we just keep watching and waiting for it, right? And it's just not where we need it to be yet, is the way to say it. I got to get above this line. So you just mark that line, and, really, let's even give it a wick. You want to get above $41 before you really look at this. But this could move. This could be, it could be a mover. It's in the right space. I mean, anything petroleum, oil, that's all. People are looking at those names. DraftKings is, I said this when we couldn't break through this level. Then we couldn't break through 64.20. I kept mentioning that this looks like it's toast. And this is why it's so important to leave these levels in. Look at this level, right? Look at this level. And now what do you do with it? Well, now you have to put yourself in a position where, what are you going to do, right? You can't break this. If you can't break this, and there's the 50-day and the 21-day, then you have to get out of it, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm going to get some coffee. Hold on. So, all right. So what do you do with it, right? You have to get out. And that's exactly what happened here. And, just keep that in mind. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's something where, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. It's something where you really just need to be aware of what's going on. Okay. You got to leave these levels in because they add up, don't they? I mean, it becomes pretty important what's going on here, right? I mean, you can see that, and you can see how important that is. And I think that you have to be aware of that. Like, you have to leave these levels in, and then you have to make sure that, that you use them and how you're going to use them. I want to say, like, this, don't make this too complicated, right? If you have a trend line and it can't break the trend line, get out of it. And I know I'm hammering this point home, but it would have saved people a tremendous amount of money, like a tremendous amount of money if they were paying attention to these kinds of levels. Because, like, if you can't break the 61, how do you think you're getting higher, right? And then you roll here, and then you can see the dreaded H pattern that we talk about. And now you're at the 200-day. And now the question's going to become, what do you do now, right? What are you going to do now with this? And that's really the question. The question is, you avoid it. And if it breaks the 200-day, you need to get out of it. And I'm spending a lot of time on this stock because this is a big cult stock. You have to remember, this is DEAC. This was the first time that you really saw people paying attention to a SPAC. Back in the day, this was a year ago. I think the other big one that people were looking at was, what was it? Space was the other big one that you could be looking at. So, sorry about that, getting some more coffee. So, what you have to do is just constantly think about this, right? You have to constantly be aware of where these lines are and why they're significant. Like, you really don't even need the indicators when you get good at it. I mean, you can just see the line, right? Bonk goes to here, can't get it, can't hold support, breaks. I mean, if you were to look at this chart and you didn't know what it was, you would see that this is rolling, right? But then you get a little attached to it because you develop like a confirmation bias. Everyone's going to gamble. States are going to open up. Blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, it broke the upper trend line a month ago. So, just get in that habit. So FDX was one that we put in the newsletter, and I actually gave people an option idea as well on FDX. Look, I'm going to start throwing out some option ideas in the newsletter. There's a link in the bio for it. It's free, comes out 3 times a week. They're going to be pretty conservative. If somebody's looking to be more speculative, they're going to have to reach out to me directly, because my goal here is like almost like a doctor. I don't want to do harm. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get really hurt with options. So that's really it. But in regards to this, I think that you're kind of in a position where, this is just getting started, and you really have to look at it from this, like, look at this. Okay. And like, you're really just getting started. Between this drop to here, right, is roughly 70 points. So I said 360, but this can go a lot higher, like a lot higher. You have to remember something. When these people deleverage and they go from high beta to low beta, those trades get just as crowded as tech. They just don't move as fast, which is not a bad thing because it gives you more time to get in. People just aren't going to be used to the volatility. So we're up $4 in this. There's nothing to do with this right now. Continue to hold it. It's still actionable today. I believe I added to it today. FUBO. Look, it's toast. I mean, this is not coming back anytime soon. It had its run. It can't get above the 21 day, can't clear $22. You're going to 14. I mean, this is going to $14. There's no reason why it's not. It's been constant selling the whole way. So I showed that solely not as an actionable idea, but for the person that's still holding on there waiting, it's time to get on with your life. Like, it's just not going to work. Could it come back in 3 to 6 months? Yes. I believe that the Nasdaq's actually setting up for a much larger move. I'm not going to get into that today, but I believe it's setting up for a much larger move in June, July. That's going to carry us for the rest of the year and be huge. But we got to go through the ugly, guys and girls, before we get to the good. So keep that in mind. GLD. Look, I'm not going to buy this. Why am I not going to buy this? You have this huge overhang right here. And, this goes with commodities, and just going to throw this out there. I know people love their Bitcoin and everything. Take a moment to read the statements that came out of the administration today and understand that the tax liability and regulatory bodies are going to be all over these things. And you're going to really have to watch that. See what's going on here? I have this huge downward trend that I can't break. Where is this going to get me? Where do I want to do this? GLD. GLD is where I'm going to want to do this. Where? 200 day. Boom. Follow me? No need to go near this. I do not need to be first. I need to be right. Break out of this. And remember how I showed you guys and girls? Trying to include everyone because we do have a lot of ladies that actually watch the videos. So when you break out of this at 175, right? You go to the top of the wedge. Whatever that wedge is, you go to the top of it. That's your target. That's how you come up with the target. This is the top of the wedge. If the wedge started here, that would be the target. The wedge starts here, 195. Now let's drill into this because gold's important, because I do think that with China coming out and stockpiling gold, this is going to move. Now, the pullback trade on the weekly was here, right? You can see that line right here. And then you can see this trend line here. It's the same exact trend line. And then you come here, and then this line is roughly the same as the other line. Okay. You can see how we're setting up when we can get to 195. I would look at this, and I would set an alert for when he gets above that level. So Gulf, and it looks like this was end of the day, was 51.55. And then after hours, we are roughly at the same level, it looks like. Okay. Look. This huge spike on enormous volume today, I mean, cannot be missed at all through this level, right? And now look, wow, look at that. Wow. I didn't see this one. Someone asked me to look at it. So I opened, like, this is perfect stuff. It really is perfect. And you could see a move in this tomorrow, very similar to what we had to trade in BGFV today. So what you could see happen here is from here to here. Wow. So when you came back down, you opened here, came back, tested that line, ran through it, and opened higher. It's perfect, right? It's absolutely perfect. Huge volume, closing at the high. A higher high would have me interested in this tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, look at this weekly. Wow. I mean, that's just an enormous move. So I would be interested in this tomorrow. It's actionable above a higher high. I mean, it's really that simple of a trade. And then whatever your risk parameters are, but 51.61, so 51 3/4 for me. So Goldman Sachs, just to point these out, we looked at the XLF earlier. Stock's hitting a new high today. This is actionable. This was actionable today. It's actionable tomorrow. A higher high here, and this is actionable. Okay, there is a trend line here, and these things are not going to, explode and double from here, but they are going to make money. There's no question about it. So you can see where you're heading, right? 400 roughly, 40 points, 35 points. It's worth looking at. Home was another one that was mentioned to me today, and I really like this chart. Same exact thing. Look at this. And I talked about this earlier, this pattern. See how you gum and try to break through it. Bonk, can't break through it, comes back down. The second time's always the charm. This was, you add more to it here, and then it goes. So from here, from 35 to 37.5, and acted perfect. A higher high would have me interested. We have a line up here. So let's see why that line's there. Yep. So 41 is going to be your next resistance point. And then through 41, you've got nothing but blue skies and a stock that was $2 that's now 40. Wow. That's a huge move. That's good. Get through 41. It'd be really interesting to see how that plays out. INGN. Let's go to the daily. So this was one we looked at before, counted it out from, the move. Let's get rid of this because this is completely irrelevant now. You kind of like falling off here, right? So you don't have a ton of volume, and I have this rising wedge that doesn't really excite me. And then I can't really stay above this line. Like, look at this line. Can't really, well, that's drawn awful. So see where I'm going with this? Like, it can't stay above there. So that would concern me. This is setting up to be a double top with a rising wedge, and it could roll. I would like to close above this 66 level again. And I have a level out here at 73. So let's go to the weekly on this and see why we have that level. Yeah. So, you have a nice base here and you're running, but you're going to have some issues at the 73 level. So just be aware of that. MO, this is so funny this time of year, and we're looking at Philip Morris. What you're going to see here is a nice little breakdown, right? What's this break? And this is MO. This is a flag, right? Okay, so what kind of flag is it? It's a bear flag. What do we do with it? Well, we need to wait and see if it breaks. Okay, so did it break? It broke today. So one of the reasons why we're going to look at it. And let's just go through this. Remember when I talked earlier about island reversal gaps? Okay, see how you have a gap here? And you have a gap here, right? That's an island reversal gap, even though it's one bar. I need 3 bars to make an island reversal gap, and there it is. Some people might call it a morning star, but it's not. So this island reversal gap, and that pattern's actually in the candlestick video, so I am going to post that. Then you gap again today, creating another one right here. And then on top of that gap, you open at the low and close at the high. We have invalidated the bear flag by getting above the highest peak, which was really right here. So we've invalidated this as a bear flag. Usually what happens in your first target is going to be the high of this, which would take you to $52. So this is a pretty easy trade to put on right now and leave on a higher high. And it's going to take a while because these things move slow, but this is going back to $53. OIH, we looked at this yesterday. I'm throwing it in again today. I said, buy it on a higher high. You have a higher high. You have more volume coming in. This is going to 230. This is a very simple, easy trade to put on and just leave on. If you close below the 50-day, you get out of the trade. It's that simple, right? So that's it in a nutshell. And I really want to come through and talk about this today. So look, this is decision time for this bad boy. Love the company, love the founders. Really great story to see where they started and what they've built. But price is price. And this is telling you that maybe we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. This is when we got added to the S&P. We broke the top of the channel. And since then, it's just been a train wreck. And now look, see how this channel's here? And that's where the 50-day is. Since we've broken that channel, what's happened? See what I'm saying? Like, you need to learn pattern recognition, price action, volume before you learn anything else. I can't stress it enough. The RSI is definitely helpful, and there's other things that are helpful, but they add incremental value. They're not the meat, right? They're the side dishes. So right now, what needs to happen? We need to hold the line. Like, it's Braveheart time, where he's screaming hold. Like, it needs to hold here. If this closes below the 200-day, institutions automatically have to get out. It's just part of like their covenant or whatever their charter guidelines are. They blow these things out. They do not wait around because it means that it's going to be dead money for a long period of time. And nobody wants to be in those. So what do you do here? Nothing. Watch, wait, and see. You definitely don't buy it. And where would you buy it? When the bulls are back in charge. When will the bulls be back in charge? When we're above the 21-day. Until then, do not buy it. If you want to bottom fish, go for it. But that can go a lot lower. So pins, I was asked for the past 4 days, when do we buy it? And my answer is not yet. Okay. This is an ugly, ugly chart where we're going to get rid of this. You see this gap here? See this gap here? You're going to see these island gaps everywhere now that I'm pointing them out to you. And then you have another one. And then you open at the high and close at the low. And do you close below the 200-day moving average? You sure as heck do. And you closed right on a support line that we've had drawn for, since back here. We've had that line since it was here. And let's see where that line actually goes. That's interesting. I wonder why that's there. Yeah, so you're back from here. So, and here you are. So 59 is where it needs to hold. You need to hold that line. If you do not hold this line, you're going to have issues. Not only are you on a major support line, you're on the 200-day. And this is all air. So, you could see 44, 43. It would be nothing. And, again, remember what I started saying and then really didn't finish. When you have a stock and you have leaders, 20% of those leaders will go down 80%. On a correction, on a high beta correction. 20% of them go down 80%. It happens. Go look at Cisco in 2000. It was $80. I think it went to 10. And they stay there for years. So just keep that in mind. This was just us from before when we were in it over here. 50% of all stocks, or 80% of all stocks can correct 50% during a correction. So we're just beginning if this continues to get worse. And I think it's going to deleverage and get worse. So what do you do here? Look, ARK owns this. I think the second or first or second largest shareholder. This is in a lot of trouble. 1, 2, 3, we broke this channel. That's it. We broke this major support line. That's it. You're going into the teens. You're going to $16. There is no support in here. There is nothing in here. Could you rally before that happens? Absolutely. If this rallies, to me, it's a short. And he goes to $16. She's gonna have to delever that entire portfolio if she starts getting withdrawals and outflows. And she's already started getting outflows. So it becomes an issue. We're trapped on this RILY. People are interested in it. I get it. Look, I'm going to give you a very simple trade here. I would buy it when it gets to the 67 level again, okay, around there, and put $1 stop on it. And if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. Because I think you're going to get in here, and then I think eventually you're getting to this level. But at $67, this has proven itself now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. The day that I recommended buying it there, it didn't get below that dollar. But you see where I'm going with the dollar? The dollar really takes you below this wick, which would take you to 66.20. So that's really what I'm saying. 66.15 and you get out of it. But when it gets close to this line again, if we sell off tomorrow, if tomorrow, which this may happen tomorrow, you may have a tech rally and a low beta sell-off. If you see that, you're going to want to do the inverse and you're going to want to buy, you're not going to want to buy tech. You're going to want to try to get out of what you need to get out of. People are excited because this is up after hours on excellent earnings. Look, I'm just going to be very blunt here. I think this is great. I hope it goes back up to 350. The company is an awesome company. We were looking at playing this at 320 with a 310 stop, must get over 320. Never happened. Like it never executed for us to even put the trade on. right? This was Tuesday, this was Monday. Like it just it never executed. So there really wasn't much to do. Now you slice through this moving average and now you're back over it. Get me back over the 200-day and stay there and build. And then we can start looking at some things. Like there's some things here you could look at, you could build on. Hold on. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of all this actually. We can get rid of everything. Everybody knows this is ROKU now, right? Let's get rid of this. So like, let's just go and let me just show you this because, okay, that does exist. Okay. Since you bottomed and you rallied, that does exist. And I think that's important to understand. And I wouldn't be surprised if we clone this and this fits in the top of the wedge. Looks like it fits in the top just by looking at it, but I'll throw that in. And again, don't get frustrated if you don't see this stuff right away. So you're kind of there, not really. So, you can get to this 350, 360. Let's see if these indicators give us any. Yeah. So your channel's probably more down here. You have to get through that 360 level. Let's see where it closes tomorrow. Get me above the 200-day and then a higher high above the 200-day. I'd be interested in a trade. I would trade this to the 350, 360 level. I'm not going to marry it right now because I think that this can continue to trade downward for some time. So let's see what happens. RVLV was one of the top 10 on our list. And we're going to just show it, right? It broke out today, but earnings were today, so you kind of have to watch it. Great earnings, stocks breaking out, higher high, and then we sold down after hours. This is getting ready to go. Just keep your eye on it. Let's see how it trades tomorrow. Shop, I came out, was pretty clear. I am short Shop. I did it at like 175. As it goes up, I will continue to do it. And let me just get into why. Now, this can change pretty fast. Okay. So let me get rid of this. Okay. And let's open this back up. So right now I closed below the 200-day. I closed below the 200-day here, and I'm doing it again. That's not good. Okay. Not only that, but let me show you why. Okay. So then I slice through this. And then I slice through this. I'm slicing through levels. Remember how like on breakouts, you want to be able to go? See how it rejected up here? This is rejecting. Okay, so I may rally tomorrow. I might not, but this is going back to 1,000. There's an 8% downward move here. This is going to test this $1,000 number again. And this time it's going to be below the 200-day for more than 3 days, which is not going to be good. You're not going to reverse from this trend line up here and then just magically pop back up. See how you tried to pop back up here and you couldn't do it? So you just need to be aware of that. This is starting to move in the right direction. And I was going through this the other day. Your sign was you hit this line and you didn't break. And then you just kind of closed the gap. But you really haven't broken out of this wick. You're going to be trapped in here. You have this line here and you have this wedge base. So where do we want to buy the SOX? I don't want to buy it in this space at all, right? This is like what I refer to as a kill zone. I want to buy it when it breaks this level. This is where you want to buy it. 36.60. Why do you want to buy it there? Because I'm above the upper trend, right? I'm back in the upper trend and I'm through the falling wedge. Okay. That's why I want to buy it there. And where would that take me to? $42, $43. And I'm still waiting for this huge breakout. Now, how long do I think this takes? I think this could take months to get through this. I think this could not be, you could not be through this for 10 weeks. So I think it's going to take a while, but get me through this on volume and I have an interest. Square after hours, I believe got hit a little bit and then it looks like it's bouncing back. Good. So, yeah, it looks like it's actually up now. Good. So what you can see, let me just throw these in because this is actually important here. You can see how it can't break this 50-day. You can't go near this. I was waiting for this breakout. Didn't happen. We're starting to gapped again. So you kind of have an island reversal. You have to close above the 50 and the 21-day before you go near this. I mean, you might not want to hear that because you don't want to miss these 25 points, but nothing's been decided here. You're in a trading range since about November. So I would not be chasing that. TDOC, look, what do you have? 148 after hours. look, I've been talking about this one since it was up here. We shorted it and then it didn't work. And then, I threw in the towel on it. But as soon as you broke this upward trend line right here and then you rolled, that's it. You went right to that 150 level that we talked about, right? We've been talking about that level at 150, and let's go to here and you can see where it is. That's exactly where it went to. Okay. This is your next level, 120, 121. I don't see any reason to think that this is going to stop going down. You may rally to 175. I hope you do so I can put it on. But this is one of her larger positions in ARK, and I think she's going to get hammered. Now, this is going to be kind of a different talk. The BPA of this. Okay, I like this idea still, and I'm going to explain why. For the past 7-8 days, we've seen nothing but people short Tesla. Okay, if you look at the net short position in the past 7-8 days, it's up. If they have to de-lever the funds, right, which they're talking about doing at these prime brokerages, if this happens and they're short the stock, they have to cover this stock. Now, the CEO is on TV. Musk is on TV Saturday Night Live Saturday. I don't know how that's going to play into it. I mean, everyone's all excited by it. I will say this. You're right on this precipice and you're right below the 50-day. If you get above that 50-day moving average, right, which is really the line that we've been waiting to see, which is that, 684 line, this could really run right to the 800 line very, very fast. So just keep that in mind. If this gets squeezed, it could be a nasty squeeze. So W, and I do like that for a trade. I really do, but it's got to get over the 50-day now. So WCC, and let me just put this here. I like this. I like this trade. So I've got red volume on this break just because it's a doji, but let's see how it trades tomorrow. What you really would want to see is the higher high move or even off the open. Get above the open and the close of today. That would show you that volume's dried up so that you're roughly looking at like 103, and then you should be able to go from there. And I think you're in good shape. But, look at this. I mean, that's a long base. Your base is from back here, January. You've been basing for 5 months. You're breaking out. It's not a bad breakout. So, I mean, look at that. It's pretty impressive. You've been here for a long time. So, that's it in a nutshell. If I didn't cover your stock and you're very interested, message me again after you watch this, and I will try and post it tonight on Twitter. As always, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on the notifications. And try to share this with people because I really want to get in front of people so they can understand what they need to learn to be truly successful in investing. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.